Reporter Ivan Fisher.
Weather anchor Ivan Fisher.
Ivan Fisher. Ivan Fisher.
Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm Ivan Fisher.
Nearly everything we do in 2018 revolves around our phones and technology. A lot of us just assume that if it's something important, then there will be a way to get it done online. What we hear when we are online might have just as much to do with whether we get out and make a change in our politics.
That and social media gave an impact on at least more people to put a vote in and really say that your vote matters.
Honestly, I feel like my vote doesn't really matter in the state of Tennessee, so I don't really partake in voting capabilities.
Voting, though, still takes place the old-fashioned way.
It's up to you how you register to vote, but one of the first places could be the Rutherford County Election Commission. Or if that doesn't work, you could always register with some of your friends at the Linebaugh Library. But even better than that, you don't have to go anywhere at all. And what's more hipster than mailing a letter?
Fewer millennials voted in 2016 than we did 10 years ago. But we now use social media almost 30% more than a decade ago. So what's the simplest answer to why political trends online do not translate at the polls?
You can wave your arms and jump up and down all you want, but if you don't vote, you miss the entire point of the whole democracy.
No matter how you vote, you should still give yourself the right to complain about what happens.
Murfreesboro's connection to Nathan Bedford Forrest can be seen today from the courthouse to our own campus. Forrest's raid on the Murfreesboro courthouse is a point of pride for many in the city when they think of the people set to be executed by the Union.
You know, the people that he saved here, their families and descendants of those people here now that might not otherwise be. And, you know, there's a lot of legend and lore that goes along with any kind of person in history.
The lore of Forrest was a huge part of MTSU athletics and the campus starting in the 50s. And as the school integrated a decade later, students opposing that legacy had already started making a press for change.
Where we were protesting in the 60s, they burned a cross on campus. They sent us a message that this is something we're not going to accept. You all trying to make that change.
So would the removal of Forrest's name off of the MTSU campus erase him from the city's history?
The historical plaques, the Rutherford County Historical Center downtown, those areas all sort of have memorials or contextualization interpretation of the raid.
Only lacking Governor Haslam's signature, public schools are going to be displaying a message that may raise a few questions from parents and students.
I'm here at Hobgood Elementary in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, which, like other public schools across the state, will soon have In God We Trust either on the building or somewhere inside the building that students can see it. So I asked, do MTSU students agree with that law?
Even though nearly 82% of the Tennessee legislation has approved the bill, MTSU students have mixed feelings about that motto being in public schools across the state.
Maybe certain religions don't believe in just God, they believe in a certain other type of, you want to say God or whatever, but I don't feel like that's going to be like fair to other religions.
It's really hard to live out that faith whenever you kind of feel persecuted. You feel like everybody hates you because people believe that you hate them.
It's not a bad institution, but because we're also stating that we have freedom of religion, so it's not being forced, and I don't think that it harms anybody. But then again, there's kind of the question of why does this need to be done?
To put something such as, you know, in God We Trust on something that's public and state funded is essentially illegal.
While many Tennesseans believe that the Constitution creates a separation of church and state, the truth is that phrase is nowhere in the document. The separation of church and state is something that the Supreme Court has decided.
There have been a number of court decisions that have looked specifically at the term In God We Trust, and generally it's considered to be sort of ceremonial deism. The court has outlawed devotional Bible reading and prayer in schools.
As long as no one is being forced in any belief, majority rule has the right to promote our country's current motto. I'm Ivan Fisher with News 3.
And you want people to trust you.
Like other CEOs who have come under fire for their business practices, Mark Zuckerberg will be testifying in front of Congress today and tomorrow to answer questions about Facebook sharing its users' data.
Scrutiny of Facebook has been growing ever since it was discovered that data of nearly 90 million users had been collected by the political consulting firm Cambridge Analytica.
Since the Cambridge Analytica leak, Facebook has gone on to confirm that they not only recorded their users' call history, but they also attempted to send a doctor out to hospitals to share user information. So I went onto the MTSU campus to see what kind of questions students are asking.
Are they just selling it? Like, who are they giving it to? Because collecting the data is one thing, but spreading it around to anyone and anyone who'll take it, that's kind of a whole other issue.
Trying to show me stuff that I don't really care about, or like they're just giving out my information, so I'm like, I don't know who has it, so people know stuff about you that you don't even know them.
Like how much data, my personal data, could have been used to either influence elections or just the general idea of where my information was going and who was actually able to see it.
The more students knew about the data sharing, the stronger they felt about what might have happened to them.
I'm just supposed to use this site to interact with other people that are similar to me. Why are you collecting that data? What is that data being used for? It's not necessarily why they're collecting it, what are you using it for? Because that's my personal information.
As of Monday, Facebook has alerted users who have had their data obtained by Cambridge Analytica, but that might not be enough to ever restore students' trust in social media.
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg arrived yesterday on Capitol Hill. He did not answer questions from reporters, but he did meet with lawmakers behind closed doors ahead of his testimony this afternoon. This Senate hearing is coming after a data firm with ties to the Trump campaign reportedly obtained the data of 87 million users without their knowledge. A glimpse of Zuckerberg's intentions going into that testimony was released yesterday. This sets the CEO up to take the blame. Zuckerberg is prepared to admit that they did not do enough to prevent the ability for fake news, foreign interference, and hate speech. He will also take the blame for failing to protect users' data from outside developers, reinforcing the message he gave 2 weeks ago.